There are so many different dirt bikes to choose from, so how do you know which ones are street legal and which one is right for you? Or if you even want a street legal dirt bike. Don't worry, I'm gonna break it down step by step so that you choose the right one, because if you start on the wrong one, you may end up hating it because it's the wrong type of bike. Maybe it has too much power, not enough power, or the right size, and you're stuck with it and you either have to dump it for a lot less money or just struggle to ride it. First of all, not all dirt bikes are street legal. There's a select few. Only the ones that are legally registered and plated for the road use can be legally ridden on the road. So if you're riding an off-road dirt bike on the road, you're probably not doing it legally. And then enduro bikes, back in the day in the 70s, 80s, enduro bikes used to be dual sport bikes where they're basically an off-road street bike that you could ride on and off-road. But nowadays an enduro bike is essentially a high-performance trail bike, which also means that most of them are not street legal unless you get one that has all of the legal equipment, the plates, the lights, to ride off-road, and there's only a few of those. So should you even get a street legal dirt bike? Well, a few reasons why this is the right type of dirt bike for you is if you only can have one dirt bike. Maybe you only have room or the budget for one. Also, if you need to ride on and off-road. So maybe you don't have a vehicle to haul a dirt bike to your trails, or if you want to commute with it and then ride to the trails afterwards. So if you just want one dirt bike to do it all, then a street legal dirt bike is the right type of bike for you. But if you're only riding off-road, you don't need to ride it on-road, then I would look at a trail bike that is for off-road only, because it's going to be lighter and easier to handle. Because a street legal dirt bike, with all the extra accessories and equipment, it makes it heavier and just a little bit harder to handle off-road, especially if you're a smaller, shorter rider like me. That also means that a street legal dirt bike is not good if you plan on racing or riding really technical trails, just because it takes more effort to maneuver it over obstacles like rocks and logs or steep hills. So what are the best dirt bikes for beginners that are street legal? Well, I highly recommend these few bikes. The Honda XR 150L, it's brand new for 2023. It's based off of the CRF 150F trail bike that was discontinued a few years ago, but it's a super reliable engine. It's nice and lightweight, well under 300 pounds, and it's super easy to ride because it has a low seat height. The engine is super smooth, doesn't have a lot of power, so it's great for commuting or just riding around town if you don't need to ride at high speeds. So highway and freeway riding are not very good. It's also very inexpensive. You also have the Yamaha TW200, which is a little bit different because it has the big fat tires, so it's not great at anything, but it's very easy to ride. You get really good traction in all types of terrains. It's great for beginners with an ultra low seat height, and it's affordable, easy to maintain. Then you have Kawasaki's KLX 230. They have the 230R, which is the off-road version, but then the 230 is the street version with the headlights and stuff. It's also very easy to ride, has a little bit more power than the 150 and 200, so it's good for trail riding, casual trail riding, or riding around town, but it's still not good for high speed down the highway. Then Yamaha has the XT250, which is another air-cooled bike. It's pretty similar to the other ones. It has a pretty low seat height, super smooth engine, it's reliable, and it has just a little bit more power with the 250cc engine. Then Honda has the CRF 300L. This is a liquid cooled bike, so it's a little higher performance, a little bit better suspension, which costs a little bit more, but it's still beginner friendly with a fairly low seat height, especially if you get the new 300L S model, which is a couple inches lower, but it has noticeably more power, which makes it better if you're a bigger rider but want something beginner friendly, or if you're doing a little more highway riding. But if you're looking for the best street legal dirt bike for adventure or kind of long distance dual sport riding, the best ones are KTM 500 EXCF, the Husky 501S. Those two are kind of the top of the line for overall performance and lightweight. They're not exactly beginner friendly, especially if you're doing a lot of off-road, just because they do have a lot of power. But if you're a more experienced rider and need something street legal that can do basically any type of riding, the 500s are really good. Then Suzuki has the DR650. It's a big air-cooled dirt bike that's street legal. It's noticeably heavier, but it still has good power and decent suspension for off-road riding. I wouldn't recommend it for technical trails, but for a 650cc bike, it handles most things pretty well. You can also put a bunch of luggage on it, do a lot of off-road adventure riding miles. Then you got the Kawasaki KLR 650, which is quite a bit heavier. It's better for even longer distance riding, especially if you're doing more pavement on the road riding. It can haul a lot of gear and somewhat comfortable for a passenger, but basically the KLR versus the DR650, the KLR is going to be better for more road miles. It's a little more comfortable, but with certain mods you can make both of them pretty comfortable. And then for an even bigger street legal adventure bike, which I don't consider a dirt bike, is the Yamaha Tenere 700. It's noticeably heavier, it has quite a bit more power, more than you need for trail riding. But if you want to do some off-road and on-road riding, the Tenere 700 is a really good choice these days with a lot of performance, as well as reliability. But if you just want a lightweight, street legal dirt bike for city or commuting, the best models are the Honda XR 150L, the Kawasaki KLX 230, the Kawasaki KLX 300 if you want a little more power, or the Honda CRF 300. And then for street and trail riding, so you want something that's pretty good for on-road riding, can keep up on highway speeds, as well as light enough for doing some off-road trail riding. The best ones are the KLX 230, the Honda CRF 300L, the KLX 300, the KTM 350 EXCF, or the Husky FE 350S, as well as the Honda CRF 450 RL, and the KTM 500 and Husky 501. The 350s, 450s, and 500s have noticeably more power, so I don't recommend them if you're a beginner or if you're doing a lot of riding in like deep sand or technical trails. They're just a lot to handle. And if you're new to riding, don't make the same mistake that most beginners make and just go out and ride and try and figure it out on your own. I want to show you the beginner techniques so that you can have more confidence, more balance, especially on a bigger street legal dirt bike. You can grab my free guide at motocrosshideout.com/free lessons or click the link in the description below. This is Kelly Fager from Motocross Hideout. Learn more, ride more so that you can stay safe and have fun for many years to come.